I'm Sharon from Obsessed Decorating. I've actually been a decorator for about 25 years, on and off. It's been my fallback position. So I had a chop and change through estate agency and property, and then also decorating, and it was always there to save me. So essentially, I'm a decorator. I've also now started a new brand, which is Trade Health Coach, because I want to help decorators and tradespeople have better lives.
Wow, what a combination. Where do we start? So let's start with your decorating. How long have you been in that
Quite
trade?
a long time. So initially, I was going out on site with my dad. I've been really a decorator, I would say, from the age of about 4 years old. Just an illegal one.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
What?
So, but the first time I ever stepped out
Fantastic.
and did decorating, I guess for myself, was around about 25 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. And you've been self-employed ever
Yeah.
since?
I went self-employed straight away. Like I literally I thought it was a really good idea. Just like, oh, I really fancy painting and I can do a bit, I've done a bit at home, done some for friends. And I just thought that's what I wanted to do. So I left my estate agency position that I was in at the time. And I had a little bit of an inheritance actually. So I
Okay.
had like, what's the equivalent of a like 2 months salary, I suppose, maybe. And then I just thought, right, I'm just going to do it. I just phoned my friend and I said, shall I just try? And I initially wanted to do murals. I just thought I was going to be this amazing mural artist. And then more and more people asked me to do like, come do my kitchen. Do you want to come and do my bathroom? And it's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm a painter and decorator.
Amazing. So what has led you into the health coach side of things? Tell us more about that.
Essentially, my interest is mental health because I've had a lot of struggles with mental health myself. It has been actually quite horrendous at times. There have been times when I've gone into work and not quite known how to actually operate. There have been some times where I've had struggles. I was thinking back on it the other day, actually. There's struggles where I'd go to a friend's barbecue, say on a Saturday night, and then we were painting offices. This is a particular example. Was painting some offices over a weekend, and I went to a friend's barbecue, just got absolutely hammered. Turned up the next day, and literally I was so hungover. And the foreman of that little group of people that I joined for that weekend to paint these offices in Totteridge, I don't know whether he was lying or if he was telling the truth, but he came and popped his head around the door at one point. He went, "Don't think I didn't see you throwing up in that dustbin." And I was like, and I was just,
Oh no.
you just think back on it. There are times where you're beating yourself up and treating yourself badly, yo-yo sort of dieting, gaining weight, and not looking after yourself. I didn't quite know. I'm always assessing like what's next for me, with the decorating, like what else can I learn, what can I do. And at one point, I was just like really like I really want to start really giving back to the community seriously. And I just one day I was in a spa actually, and I just sat in the sauna. I was like, "Well, what do you want to do, Sharon?" And I was like, "I want to help decorators because we're all pretty unhealthy. We go for long periods of time without food.
I think we've all got our own sins.
Yeah,
Yes,
we don't look
yes,
after ourselves. It's like the
definitely.
worst trade, I think, for looking after ourselves, putting so much pressure on ourselves.
I think it is. Yeah, I mean, you hear constantly how people just work through the
Mm,
day and long hours. They don't get home till gone 6 o'clock, and then they're working through their
that's
weekends
it.
as well. It's very
It is.
tough.
So I really wanted to. I started to look about how I was coping with stuff, and I was getting better and better and better, and I was getting answers to my struggles. Getting on top of the eating, getting on top of the energy, getting on top of the exercise, and all of those things. And I started looking at myself and realizing how far I'd come with it all, and looking around and thinking, why does this person look so unhealthy? And then I started to look at people and think, I kind of know what's going on without, I can look at someone's body almost, or certainly look at their face even. And don't get nervous, by the way. I can't see you
Wow.
properly from it. But I just kind of think,
Yeah, please don't look too
I just
close.
kind of think with just some simple changes to diet or something like that, or it could even be like sleep routine or something like that, they could make a huge benefit to their lives. But also, I suppose, Laura, it's like we are now in a crisis, aren't we? Mental health crisis where people are taking their own lives too often. And I
Yes.
want to I don't want me to make a big impact, but I want there to be big change for this industry. So I'm really passionate about that.
There has to be, and I think the more that we talk about it and normalize certain feelings and emotions, then hopefully more people will feel okay about opening up to others. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be opening up to someone you know. Sometimes it's easier to talk to somebody you don't know, because you don't have to worry about what emotions it might bring up for them, if because sometimes a family member, you might be worried that a family member may absorb too much of your energy. So I think the more we normalize just talking about things, the easier others should feel about talking about their feelings.
100%. I love the way that you are talking about emotions and feelings. It's like inside, I'm obviously quite still, but inside I'm going, yes, because we all know it's difficult to talk about our feelings, especially with men. It's not an easy task to ask your man or a man or any of us really to. I've always been very stoic about my feelings. I was brought up in a way that, you don't talk about your feelings and you don't talk about your emotions. And yet I had a very emotional mother, actually. She wasn't able to control her emotions in a way that was acceptable sometimes. So when she would get angry, she'd throw pots and pans, and I even
Oh,
dodged a
wow.
carving knife at one point. It just launched at my dad. So if
Oh,
we,
goodness me.
yes, the more we can control our emotions and we learn to build that resilience, it's not about having control so that we don't have emotion. It's about able to express them, certainly before they escalate into anger and
Absolutely.
something very reactive and harmful. And I think what my focus is around now is trying to bring awareness more so to active listening, because I think there are more facilities for talking around at the moment, but we're not able to
Yeah.
communicate, which is through listening. I think that's really important.
I totally agree. I think the act of just sitting and allowing somebody that space to express their thoughts, literally any thought that's in their mind, is something that a lot of us could do with learning to listen,
Oh, yeah.
um, especially when it comes to our male counterparts. As you've said, males in the trades, their mental health is quite widely spoken about, which is fantastic. And I think as long as we are learning the skills to also listen, then it should hopefully work hand in hand and allow people that safe space.
Yeah. And a safe space, as you so rightly say, it's actually, I think, practiced or learned. Talking
Mm,
is something we've now just started
definitely.
to accept. But when did we ever start talking about listening? Like, nobody's really saying about listening. So my new branding that I've got coming out for the Trade Health Coaches built off quite a history of my own struggles, where I knew something was going to be going on with me. I knew when things would start going wrong, because I would start craving to watch Frasier, which is probably before your time. I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you heard about the American sitcom Frasier? And I'd want to go to the shops and go and get chocolate eclairs.
Yes,
I just want to go and
yes. I
sit.
used to watch
Yeah.
it.
And the first thing he would say when he's like, we're online too. And it's like, this is Dr. Fraser Crane. I'm listening. And I'm like, so that's what I'm going to put on my brand. Like, I'm listening,
There you
because
go.
it's like, I want to create those safe spaces. I can only serve so many, but I'm trained in communication, which is hopefully, if I can pass enough through to people and hopefully teach those techniques, I'll know that you can send somebody away with even just a few skills to be able to have those conversations. But I think it's going to take a lot of time.
Well, the best things do take a lot of time, don't they?
Obviously, there's steps to do. I think the thing is there's so many little steps that I take during the day. is sometimes I think about like, how can I really help somebody? Like, because we have our own days of struggle. So sometimes you feel like a little bit of an imposter because you're thinking, well, I'm really struggling today. But then my brain says to me, yeah, but look at what you're doing. Like, what are those little things that you're doing? You're consciously making this decision. My routine is very set within certain amount of things per day. And I know that I can just, if I stick to the routine that I have built over the course of a couple of years, then it serves your mind. I don't like to call it a mindset anymore. I like to call it mind expansion.
No, I like that. That's good.
Because if we're
Yeah,
mindset, we'll never change. It's like, well, we're always going to be stuck in that rut of set, when actually, if we could be more expansive with our minds, it's going to make a lot of improvement.
that makes so much sense. Absolutely. Yeah. I
I
think,
nicked it from someone else, actually.
did you? Shh, don't tell anybody.
I could give him a plug. Yeah.
Ah, brilliant.
He's got a very successful business himself.
Oh, there we go then, that's all right, he won't mind. I also wanted to just say that obviously with the podcast being Life of a Female Tradie, we touched on men's mental health being quite prevalent at the moment. But obviously females, we can struggle quite immensely with our mental health on a totally different level, I feel, especially moving into later life with the imbalance of hormones and
Tell me about
menopause
it.
and perimenopause. Honestly, I think allowing space for women to speak openly as well is extremely important when there's such fluctuations and dips of
Yeah.
feelings, and when you're not truly understanding why. Like, sometimes on a day I have to step back and say to myself, why did you just react like that? Like, there's not actually a reason to feel so strongly about that. Just let it go and carry on with the day. Don't let it ruin your mood. And I think sometimes the evaluation of your feelings and emotions can be blown up so much that you then beat yourself down. I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
how
for
you
sure.
kind of feel about that sort of thing.
Really strongly. Oh my God. I could actually have you on here for about 12 hours, to be honest, because it's literally been like this for like years for me. I used to be probably the most reactive person. So as people see me now, you would never guess that I've been thrown out of 2 schools, you know, detentions, caught smoking, all of those sorts of things. I've done all those kind of teenage things, got drunk, been grounded by my parents, thrown up on a church hall carpet, dragged
Yeah.
home by my dad and grounded. You know, people look at me now, and even my best friend will say to me, "Oh my God, Shaz, it just sounds really weird when you swear." Just I think the thing is, similarly to mental health, that nobody knows what's going on, we must always understand that nobody knows what's going on and in somebody's history. I've been
Yeah.
arrested 3 times. I've been through court battles with my ex-husband, married to a police officer. So, it was nasty. It was extremely hard, but I don't know why, but I get stronger when other people seem to struggle. So I've always managed to focus on someone else when I feel shit, basically.
Okay.
So thankfully, I've had my son, and he was just, he was my reason for living a lot of the time. So I would be able to focus on him and just get through stuff. But you're so right that the control of hormone, we haven't just got the kind of the control of our actual sort of physical control of our emotions and reactions. We've also got the hormonal, like you say, imbalances. So I did my college course for a year, took myself up to London every other week and did a full college course with the College of Naturopathic Medicine. The things I learned, even though I still sit in the back row like a naughty school kid, but the things I learned in that course room, I was like, why is this not wider knowledge? Like the most ridiculous things. The most fascinating thing I learned, which I wish I knew when I had deep bouts of very, very bad depression. You can call it chronic because it was continuous. It was every day. And I felt like I was hauling myself up Mount Everest in high heels to get out the door, take son to school, get on site, is that in order to get energy, you have to move. Now, that can be different things for different people. Going for a walk in nature, could go to a yoga class, go out running, go and join a gym. I never did any of that. I was a dancer in my early life, and even if I'd have just danced around the kitchen, I would have been able to have created different physical state for myself that would have made me feel better. I just wanted to sit on the sofa and eat chocolate eclairs and watch Frasier, which is the worst thing I could have done.
It's very hard to dig yourself out of that, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. That I would say that's the essence of why I wanted to.
So, as a health coach, who are your typical clients?
Oh yeah, that varies. What I love most, I actually really dig the weight loss thing. I love it when people have got some weight loss because we can get big wins on that very quickly. So even if somebody came to me and said, "Oh my God, I absolutely have to lose," I work in kilos. So say if they were saying, I really want to bring my weight down by 10 or 20 kilos, I'd love to get my teeth into that. With just some very simple inputs. As a health coach, we're trained to make sure we put things in rather than take away. I've got a client at the moment who says, "I absolutely love my glass of rosé every evening. It's how I relax." And I'm like, "It's okay. Let's leave it in there. Just don't expect to walk around looking like really twig-like." You know. But she lost very quickly within the time span that we were working together, and she was able to retain that. So I would say that, I don't have a typical age group.
Okay.
It would be somebody who, I think essentially what I really love is the improvements we can make. So say if people are overweight, I really love that. Or if there's a particular problem, like somebody might be saying, "I've got really bad knees, I've got really bad hips, I've got really bad back." We can rule out what's going on. Obviously, if I'm recommending that they'll go to a chiropractor or an osteopath or something like that. But what we do is actually the concentrated first part of it is we're going to do like a 2-hour consultation where we go
Okay.
through everything. We're looking at a holistic approach. So you look at what your routine is like, what your sleep is like, what are your systems working like? What's your thought process? What are you eating? And even just a small couple of shifts can make a massive difference, it's just so thrilling. So there's no restriction on age. I think the thing that has to come through more so than anything else is the willingness to come on board with it. Because if people, an accountability partner for change. So we facilitate change and we can create guides, but we can't do the work. That's the thing.
That's it.
Someone's going to
Yeah.
want to have to change it. So you really want to help create that vision with that person. So men and women, love working with both. I actually really I'm fascinated at the moment by the sex differences, what we can do. Because
Yes.
there's somebody that I follow and I'm devoutly concentrating and actually absorbing her work. And she works with people who are athletes and she looks at the differences. So what works for men may not work for women, particularly when we get into our menopause and perimenopause.
Definitely. I think I've caught a particular. We may be speaking about the same woman, actually. I've caught a particular woman on a couple of other podcasts who has quite recently spoken about how creatine is extremely important for brain function,
Yeah,
especially for women. Yet
yeah,
in previous like years gone by, it was thought of as mainly a supplement for men who want to bulk up and build muscle.
that's it.
And the research that's coming out now is showing how important it is in cognitive function for women.
Yeah, it sure is. Dr. Stacey Sims. Yeah, so Dr. Stacey Sims she recently I was Alleluia because she did a podcast with Mel Robbins. So it's a really, really good one to catch that for some basics. But I would stress that it is really aimed for people who are in the menopause and perimenopause. So because the things, I can look around the gym and I think it's easy sometimes to be in the gym and kind of go, why is that person doing that? Why is that? Oh, she should be doing it like this. But we then have to remember that the body responds in a different way when you're younger. So if there's a girl there with her little stretch bands around her knees and she's doing a little, exercise like that, it's like, yeah, knock yourself out. You're going to get good results. Whereas it's much, much harder. We have to do a lot more like HIIT type workout, like high energy intensity stuff when we get older to shift any belly fat. And just a few months ago, I went to my doctor and they did the 2 blood tests on me and they said that I was pre-diabetic. And I'm
Really?
like,
Okay.
seriously? She ran through everything with me and she was like, seriously? Like, she's like, right, what do you have for breakfast? What do you have for this? And I said, yeah, don't forget my snacks. I said, you've asked me what's for breakfast and for lunch and for dinner, but you haven't asked me what my snacks are. And she's like, you snack as well? I was like, hell yes. And so she's like, you're the most healthy tradesperson I've ever had in my clinic. And I was like, yes, ma'am.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But she's like, this is mad. So we had to do the blood tests again because we had to just make sure that it was the right result. Yeah.
Okay.
So even somebody who's slim like myself, you could have something going on in there that needs work,
Yeah.
needs some attention somewhere along the line because we've got visceral fat that people can't see.
I think when you probably get, say, into your 30s onwards, maybe having these sort of MOT type blood tests is a good thing to ask of your doctor to see if there is anything. Obviously, if you've got any sort of changes in your typical day-to-day health, then definitely go and see your doctor. But I think it's easy to not know or to not understand that blood tests can show so many deficiencies, which could then be the point of a certain ache or pain somewhere in the body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're so right, Laura, because and if there's one thing I would really urge, and I'm sure as a woman you'll be on board with this. One of my clients that offered to be a guinea pig for me for my exam. I sat in a park with her kids running around, and I took the full questionnaire, and we got to the point on the questionnaire where I said, now, do you have any concerns about your health? Is there anything that you've noticed, any changes in your body that you'd like me to be aware of before? Because it all leads to giving you a program. At the end of it, you'll get my recommendations. And she said, well, actually, I've got a lump. And I said, okay, where's the lump? Are you happy to tell me where that is? And she said, it's on my breast. I said, okay, how long have you had it? She said, well, a fair while actually, Shaz, because she was a friend of mine. I said, okay, well, maybe just get it checked out by your doctor and then we can see where we're going with that. So it's important not to sort of cause alarm at this stage or anything like that. If there's something that's obviously we are not doctors, but sadly she's no longer with us. So
Oh, I'm so
between
sorry.
that time that she was my guinea pig, so that was in the July. This time last year, yeah, she was in a hospice and she died the following July. So yeah, so crazy. So ladies, get checked.
Definitely.
If
Do
it
it.
doesn't matter if it's not anything, like literally just get those appointments and get checked because the sooner we catch stuff, the better off we're going to be. And I think this is the thing with being tradies as well. We're always guilty about being off site. Oh, we've got to get this done. We've got to get that done, haven't we? Oh, if you're a
Yeah.
plasterer, I need to get that bin. Oh, it's going to go off. Like I need to finish this room. But there's no, a bedroom's not going to get finished painting. A plaster is not going to get finished. A wall's not going to get built if we don't go and do our checks. So
There you go.
that's what comes first. I think it's probably really important that we mention that as well. So, yeah,
Health first, 100%. Because if you're not healthy,
yeah,
who else is going to fill your boots on that site, on that job?
exactly, 100%. Yeah, good platform to let people know that sort of thing, Laura.
Absolutely. Thank you. So if there was, well, let me phrase this a different way. Do you include supplements in your diet?
Yes, I do. I'm a big proponent of supplements, actually. But what I like to do is to make sure that, like, what are we working with to start off with? So, if we can get a blood test done as the first port of call, I really love that. So I might say to somebody, because we have a bit of a setup in the UK, which is, you have to be, on your before you get a blood test. It's very difficult, I think. So I think you have to go to your doctor and say, I'm really feeling like low energy or something like that. I want to find out what's going on. Can I have a blood test? Because we're not the States. You can't just, just don't go and pay for your blood test unless you have the money to get what's going on inside. So you're right when you said earlier on, it can show so much. So ideally, I'd like to see whether people can get a blood test. Let's get those results. And if we've got those, then that's really, really cool. But then we can just sort of see how someone is feeling. And actually, it's just such a lovely process because you start asking these basic questions, and it's all separated. My questionnaire is separated is from the college, so it's quite a professional one. So you might say, have you got any headaches? Have you got this? Have you got that? And then they go, no, I'm absolutely fine. No, yeah, periods are all fine. Yeah, no, I don't get that. No, I don't get that. And then all of a sudden, as they relax with me, they'll go, do you know what happens, right? I have sometimes got this. And it's like, tell me more. And so you can quite quickly get all of this lovely information about everyone's so special. I love it. And I might say to them, well, okay, well, this sounds a little bit to me like this might work. So let's try. And usually it's electrolytes. So somebody says to
Is
me,
it?
I'm like really thirsty. I've got this. I don't sleep too good. I've got low energy, pretty low mood. Say to somebody, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to just start with the basics first and then just see how you go, because obviously I'll be then catching up with them as we go along the program. And what I'll put in first is electrolytes, which is potassium, magnesium, and salts. And people can feel absolutely amazing even with the introduction of electrolytes in their daily program. It makes a massive difference.
I've I've read recently that magnesium is quite an important part of our, should we call it, baseline health, so to speak, especially for energy levels. And I personally have started introducing it to my everyday supplementation, and I can say it definitely perks me up in the morning and allows me to kind of just fire through the day. So I think that's definitely a good one.
Just on the subject of, I won't go into it too much now because there is an element of possible confusion. But just for your guests and for us all to be aware of, there are 3/4 types of magnesium, and they all do different jobs. So when someone says to me, oh yeah, I take my magnesium, I'll ask them which one. So we had this on one of the forums the other day, and the guy said, yeah, I'm taking magnesium. It is actually working for him. So whatever he's doing, there's either a placebo effect or it is actually genuinely working for him. So I'm not going to question that, because I think that's the important. You can tend to be, I don't want to be a bore with health stuff. Like, oh, which one do you have? Is that 3 and 8 or is that something else? Like, just like, so I would say to somebody with, dependent on what their symptoms are, what times of the day they're feeling low energy, and whether they're getting the right sleep or whatever, will be what kind of magnesium I would recommend. And then I'll send them links to the places that I recommend to buy from as well, because I think it's really important to get quite pure supplements. Now, just as you're asking about supplements, I would not buy any supermarket ones. So what we're looking for
Okay.
is we want to have very pure ones. There's also quite a lot of for women on the shelves, and
Yeah.
also if you'll go. So I noticed the other week that Elle Macpherson is really behind a supplementation drink as well. But look very carefully into what's in those, because a lot of the time your body will only absorb and use what your body needs, and it'll just piss the rest out. So basically, it's a case of like, well, if I'm spending £12.99 every 30 days on, and more, by the way, obviously, as you know, they're very
Yes.
expensive. It's like, how much of this is my body actually needing? So this is why it's actually quite good to speak to somebody who is a health coach for you or a dietitian, that's personal to your body, because you could be getting the right amount of supplementation naturally through something else. So it would have to be personal to you.
No, that's good to say, really, because you, especially at the beginning of a year or coming up to the summer, you see in the supermarkets and the shops this big push of protein powders and
Yeah.
BCAAs and things like that, and it's like, but
Yeah.
what's actually in these things? I know it's like marketing
Yes.
for kids almost, isn't it? Some of them with the bright colours and the big fonts and stuff. But yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
like you say, check the ingredients in things, because there's going to be all sorts
Yes.
of bulk agents in things, isn't there? If it's not.
Yeah, there could potentially be a low value of the actual vitamin you're wanting, but also your body might not need it. So if you're the sort of person who's having a really fantastic diet, eating loads and loads of vegetables, you've got really good protein sources through your day, and you've got a really nice balanced menu throughout the week. I'm probably not going to see you as a health coach because you won't be asking for any help, but you don't need any supplements necessarily. It would depend. It really would depend, because that, like you were saying about creatine, I would always recommend now that particularly people in perimenopause, or if you're training, to have it as well. Definitely for muscle rebuilding and repair, definitely for cognitive function, and it has been noted to have some other health benefits as well. So yeah, but it just reminds me, when we're talking about supplements, that a really fantastic guy who did my fitness stuff at the college, he is he's one of the CEOs of a really amazing vitamin supplement package. I'm not going to say who it is; it doesn't matter. But I was caning the AG1 at the time, and he's sort of strutting his stuff across the classroom, like, and I'm going, yeah, but what about AG1? I had it on my desk. He's like, that's all right. And I was thinking, what is this guy marketing? Like, what have they created that makes his product better than AG1 then? And yeah, so I was well impressed. And so we did actually trial that out as well. My son did get some huge benefits from what he was doing.
Okay. You'll have to let me know afterwards what that is.
Yes, I can. Yeah. Yes, he's a great guy. And actually, even now, I'll drop a message to him. In fact, this is actually available to anybody that he does the body composition tests. He'll do a full blood count, and he will just literally test everything. So he does that at a clinic down in Chelsea. So it
Okay.
is hugely expensive, but it's well bloody worth it, because what Josh wanted to find out is, can I get more muscle mass? Because he's concerned. I know we're talking about men's health there for a second, but he wanted to find out what his body capabilities were. And this biometric test was able to tell him that his body will be able to bulk up if he does do certain things. Because sometimes our body will either reach the right amount of bulking up, or can I actually get to my, because some clients might say to me, oh, I want to be 60 kilos, and they might be quite a lot heavier. And it'll be like, okay, well, is that realistic? So we're always looking to see what's realistic for somebody. Because really what you want to try and do is get the right balance between, like, you want a healthy person. Is your weight loss
Yes,
achievable for your body frame, for your all of that? It's got to be, I think people sort of concentrate on health. I think we are getting better at this, but some people just want to be thin and worry about their weight loss. Whereas what really, I think what I'd like to promote is health. Really, we want to be healthy.
definitely. And there's so much involved in that. Like you said, you've mentioned sleep patterns, and I'm sure all the tradies out there are, well, deficient in sleep at some point
Run
throughout the
ragged.
year. I know, honestly. Yeah,
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it?
absolutely. And I'm sure we can all work sufficiently off different amounts of sleep as well, but it's finding that balance, isn't it, of rest and work, because obviously our bodies repair whilst we're sleeping.
That's it. I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of people don't realize that. Is that everything, that all the systems go into overdrive when we're asleep. So that rest and repair is doubly important. So I do actually take my creatine towards the evening. It doesn't really matter when you take it, but I do take it towards the evening because I think it's
Okay.
just psychological for me. I'm like, this is my. Also, I do have pre-sleep snack as well, but if I can't get that in at the right time, what I'll do is I'll put my creatine into milk because it's really grainy. Do you have it?
I have the gummies, to be honest.
So just on the subject of creatine, guys, if you could have make sure it says Crea Pure. So if then you can be sure it's a pure creatine product. So it does actually say all the ones that you want will actually on it somewhere say with a trademark Crea Pure. So that will make sure that you're actually getting a true creatine product. So I have that sometimes in milk, which is disgusting. I hate it.
Oh no. The things we do to stay healthy, honestly.
Yeah. A health coach just says she hates taking creatine. Nice. I don't think Dr. Stacey Sims says that.
So how do you find combining the two things, as in your being a health coach and your decorating? How do you balance the two?
It's quite hard. I think the difficulty for me is I've kind of got two social media sites running. So you kind of see there's anybody, and I'm sure people aren't necessarily following me, but that I notice myself that I'm like, oh shit, I haven't posted on my decorating page for about 2 weeks. I haven't done this for about 2 weeks. Oh no,
Yeah, yeah.
damn. What I tend to do, what I tend to do is I've got Wednesday nights usually and Friday nights because I'm a sad person. I don't go out on a Friday night. I'm too old
Neither
now.
do I. Don't worry
That
about
I
it.
do my consult just at home with my cat most of the time. So I do Wednesday nights and Friday nights are kind of consultations, and I tend to find that's quite a good pattern because I don't take on too many clients ever at one stage. I'm not doing group coaching at the moment, so I'm just doing one-to-ones. And I
Okay.
like that because I can give them focus. Because what I like to do is I like to be in touch with people all the time. I don't just do, oh, well, let's have a weekly catch up on such and such. We'll have a weekly catch up on a such and such day. But during the day at lunchtime, I might say, hey, have you tried this? Or let me share this with you. I've seen this. This is really cool. Last night with your recipe. Or I might see something and just say, hey, how do you fancy trying this? Or this is really cool. Or they might see something on my social media. Because I literally do my WhatsApp is open for people to just contact me because some people need a lot of hand holding. It's like they'll send me a photograph going, is this all right? Can I eat this? I'm like, yes. Or maybe just go a little bit easy on that. Like, because I don't want everyone to say no to people. But it's just like, I'm like anyone else. I love an almond croissant. I love cake and stuff like that. So I'm never going to say to people, you're not having it. But you just got to, it's just like you said earlier, it's about balance. So, yeah. But if people have got some real goals, I think that we're either doing this or we're not. Particularly with me, I just love a weight loss goal. So if somebody says, I really want to reach this target, I like to kind of go quite heavy and committed at the beginning. So you hit it quite hard within their scope. So if a client says to me, yeah, I really want to go for it, I'll be like, yeah, let's do this. Whereas some people might say, I don't know, like I really, really want to do it, but I'm really not sure, like, is it going to work? Or, so some people need more hand holding than others. So yeah, I love taking those people and just you're nurturing them then. So you become more of a psychological coach, which is nice because I've been studying the mind for like 10 years. So I love to take those people and just like you can do big things with really small actions. Like the easiest one for me is like if I notice somebody's taking like a lot of say sugar energy drinks or something like that. That can be something that can be not easily curbed because it's an addiction. At the end of the day, sugar is the most addictive thing on the planet. But they can make a massive difference to your weight. Like if you've got weight loss, and it can make a massive difference to your health if you just eliminate a few of them a week.
I think about how long ago now? 3 or 4 months ago now, you would find me eating at lunchtime probably about 5 packets of crisps because I didn't eat very well during the day, so I would just eat snacks constantly.
Yeah.
Crisps were always my downfall, and I thought to myself, I need to find something different. So I, instead of cutting them out completely, because doing that for me just makes me want them more,
Me
I
too.
yeah, I cut it down to a pack a day.
And you can never have more than you can don't you find you can never have just one packet? Like, they always say it's
Oh,
better when you have, like, 2.
absolutely.
Uh, I was online with my own coach yesterday, and I said to my coach, I said, "Have you ever had those proper chips, those barbecue proper chips from Tesco's?" Laura, have you tried
Oh,
those?
yes, I have, like the discs.
They're actually a little, like, triangle shape.
Oh,
I looked
those
after
ones,
someone's cat
okay.
once, and they left me, these packet of crisps. They left me a packet of crisps and a bottle of wine. I said, "Well, thank you for the wine, but I don't drink, but I will take the crisps." And oh my God, me and my son just like, I can't get around Tesco's now without going and buying a couple of packets of those. And then I have to buy 2
That's
big bags
brilliant.
because I need to eat it on the way home from the Tesco's. And I'm like, ah, damn, that's my damn. And it's usually when I come out of the gym. I'm like
Is
really want
it?
something really savory when I come out of the gym. I think it's the salts thing, salty crisps. Yeah, it's really weird that.
Yeah. See, I always used to crave a glass of red wine after the gym, but I don't drink now either.
Did you?
So, yeah, yeah.
Sweet. And you train, don't you? You do train as well,
I
don't
don't
you?
actually. No, I don't.
You just
I
keep a good
used to play.
physique. I can tell you've got good shoulders.
That's from just carrying lots of heavy tool bags, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the 10-liter tins of paint. That does me.
Yeah.
Um, But, yeah, I don't I want to start training, in some fashion, but I've
Nice.
had a few injuries over the last year or 2, knees, lower back, so
Yeah.
it's just evening out those sore spots ready for me to feel ready to start lifting weights and stuff
Mm.
again, I think, so I'm getting there,
Yeah.
nearly there, so
That's
yeah.
cool. Yes, I think it's really important to work to nurture your injuries and to look after that. I've been going to a chiropractor myself for a couple of weeks now, and I'm my own worst enemy. Like today, I wanted to go and train legs again. My son's really knowledgeable on strength and conditioning. He's partly trained. So, and I said to him, I'm really worried about my back. I think it's like niggling me a little bit. I don't want to fuck it up, basically, which is what I tend to do. I'll go in the gym, like hoof the weights on. And I was really proud of myself for getting up to this like nice weight on the leg press machine. But then I spent the next 4 to 5 weeks out of action completely. So I really lost momentum. So I know what you
Oh,
mean. You've got
no.
really nurture your injuries, but then I would say, because it's a very commonplace complaint, isn't it, with our knees and our backs?
Yes, especially lower backs, I think, for women.
Yeah, I think a lot. The thing is, as the obvious difference is that we've got boobs. So we're always you tend to get that like curvature of the spine at the base of the like just above your bum. So your boobs stick out, your back arches, and the bum goes out. So you've got a weakness point at that part of the back around the top of the pelvis there. So that can you so we could benefit from some strength and conditioning around those regions to help with strengthening. So I would always be a massive proponent of people continuing to do strength training even when they are recovering, but it would be working around the injuries is really important. So when I used to manage a gym years ago, a lovely story of a lady came in and she said that she had arthritis in her neck and in her back. So we
Okay.
put her on a program, and within 12 weeks, she had no arthritis in her neck. As you're exercising around your joints, it's not just what we're doing, we're not just building muscular strength. You're looking at the joint and the way the joints and the compounds are made up is that things start rebuilding and rejuvenating. So what you're doing is you're building bone density. So it actually keeps it all moving in momentum, which is better, or much better with movement. So even if you're going to do something like light stretcher or something like that, or swimming, is a really good idea. So something gentle, even going and walking on the treadmill if you're not, if we're on site all day, it's nice to just have a bit of a change of movement, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can come back from a day's work, but you feel absolutely knackered, but you've been doing skirting boards or woodwork up the stairs, so you've literally been sat down all day, but working, but also up, down, up, down, up, down, off your knees, and you feel knackered, but you feel also like you've not really moved much. So it's like,
Yeah.
what?
Do you know what I call that? Because sometimes I come home and I'm like, I am absolutely knackered. And then you get up the next morning, don't you? You're like, Jesus, what have I done? But the way I look at it is you're doing an 8-hour yoga class,
Wow. Yeah, that's a good
isn't it?
point.
So this is why I learned to spray, because my average woodwork day, even if I'm doing, say, a 3-story townhouse, is a day. So I'll be like, I'll go and maybe put the primer on one day, and then I'll go home. And then, and it'll take me, at the most, it's probably going to take me 15 minutes once I've organized which way I'm going to be coming downstairs, putting the primer on. So then I'll literally go home. I won't touch it. And then the next day I'll come in and put the 2 top coats on. So that, I'm literally, and then I'll go to the gym. So then, because there are so many, I'm not necessarily going to be on here and just, I'm a spray ambassador at the end of the day. I love it. So but the biggest difference to my mental health and my physical health was spraying.
Wow, that's good to know. It's not something I've tried yet. Not ruling it out. It's obviously quite a an expense, isn't it, for the equipment, I imagine, and the training, of course, because you need to know how to use it safely. Um, so it's good to know that it's a positive for your health, though. That's something I've not heard before. So
Yeah, I was really lucky. Last year I did a talk at the Trade Decorator show, and that was one of the points I really wanted to make is spraying has improved my mental health. Going back around it would be about 5 years ago, well, it was actually during COVID. I had a course booked and I was going on to a spray course, and it was a bit of like stop, start, because it was cancelled, then it was back on, cancelled, then it was back on. And I finally got to do my spray course. And I was like, oh my God, this is a whole change of life. And I'd wanted to learn to spray for many years actually, but my local paint shop put me off. It was kind of like, oh, all that masking though. Why would you want to do that for a tiny bit of spraying? Like, nah, by the time you've masked it all up, I could have painted it. And I'm like, yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah. But then I was so glad that, because one day I was like so done with decorating. I was like, I'm so done. And I was listening to a book, I think it was Eckhart Tolle. So he had brought out this series of episodes with Oprah Winfrey, and he was talking about a new earth, and they were talking about the fact that, because you know how we get really unhappy, don't we? Like, we're unhappy, we're in our heads, we're on site, we're overthinking everything, depressed, lonely. I'm not painting a very good
yes.
picture of decorating, am I? But I was just beside myself. I was decorating this little hallway, and I just thought, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. But then it's almost like I heard this voice because I was listening to this podcast, and it said, yeah, but what if are you really at the top of your game yet? Are you really, like, is there something else you could learn? Because I'd gone and done some wallpapering as well for some other decorators who didn't like wallpapering, so they got me in to do it. And I overheard this decorator talking to the client, and she said, "Oh, it's a shame that this lad couldn't come and do it." And he was like, "Yeah, he just doesn't like wallpapering, but he's at the top of his game." And I was thinking, Sharon, are you at the top of your game? And I was thinking, well, actually, no, you're not really, are you? Like, what else is there you could be doing? Like, is there anything you wanted to do that you haven't done yet? Yes, I want to learn to spray. So I went to learn to spray, and the difference that made to my mental health, because it's really fun. When it goes right, it's fun. But also because it just gave me so much time, Laura. Like, I'd put one time, I've got a picture of me on my social media of my feet up in a garden. Like, I was sitting sunbathing in the garden waiting for one of the top coats to dry,
There you go.
just sunbathing.
Wow.
A lot of decorators might say, "Oh, yeah, but I could hand paint it in the same amount of time." I'd be like, "Well, yeah, but did you get to sunbathe in the garden for an hour?"
This is it. It's weighing up what's important, isn't it? It's how much do you value your time is a key question I think people need to think about. Because if you're working 8 till 7 or 8 till 8, these long, long days, when you could do something to cut that down and use your time for something that feeds your soul, so to speak, whether it be
Yeah.
sat out in the garden absorbing the sunshine or with your kids, if you've got kids or your dogs or, you know,
Exactly. Well,
it's
at one point, I was getting well known in Leighton Buzzard for, being at Costa. 'Cause I'd go down they'd always say, "Well, if you can't find Sharon, if she's not here on site, she's either, like, at home or she's in Costa." It's mad, isn't it? But, yeah, I cannot like, I will always be a massive proponent of spraying because it really gave back so much time, so much easier. I was able to charge the same amount of money, but do the work in far faster time. So when people so say if somebody said to me, "Right, I want my whole house done," I will be like, "How many rooms can you give me at a time?" They won't be expecting that. Like, I wanna work on 2 to 3 rooms at a time if I can. So if I can have like, with one client, we worked with on the back half of the house on the upstairs at the same time. So which was perfect for a team of 2, and then basically one day I'll go in and do the ceilings together. And on those particular days, I will spray both ceilings at the same time, taking the hose from one to the other. Then I'll change the paint over, and then I'll put the primer on the woodwork. So you can get so much more done. You get through the work faster, and you can get paid the same amount of money as if you were with a brush and roller. You're effectively earning more money. It's mad. That's good for your mental health.
isn't it? Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It
Brilliant.
like anything, it's easy when you know how, and that's the thing I will say. It took me a few months to get really comfortable with it, but it took me a surprisingly short amount of time before I was able to really, like, duck and die with it, and it really improved my life.
That's brilliant. I'm so glad you found that new aspect of the trade to perk your passion again and also
Yeah, it really
feed
did.
that need to have your own time as well. Yeah, it's great that there are options out there for us to explore and master to then bring to the table.
Yeah, I really envy like, it's almost like I look at you young girls coming into the profession now and
I'm not
wonder what
that
it's gonna
young.
be like. Well, you look it. Can I ask, am I allowed to ask your age?
Yeah, sure. I'm 38.
Yeah, see, you're a baby. So
I don't feel it
we're
anyway.
exactly 20 years apart. I'm 58 this year,
Are
you're
we?
38, so we're
Okay,
exactly 20 years apart.
there we go.
So I wonder what it's gonna it's hard for you guys coming in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a couple of other decorators that one of which is in her 20s, and we actually connected through her openly sharing her burnout, her I'm not going to call it a breakdown, but her reaching a point where she was done, shall we say. She was nearly ready to hang up the brush and roller, like they say. And that's how we
Wow.
connected because I reached out to her and gave her a bit of advice because I found that when I started, I was doing a typical Monday to Friday week, but then I was using a Saturday to get all my materials and ready, getting ready for the week ahead over the weekend. So it was like I didn't have any time off. So I now take a Monday off and have a 3-day weekend, but use the Monday to go and buy materials and get everything ready for the week ahead. And for me personally, that works perfectly. So suggesting that to her, I believe she's taking it on board now and it does work for her too. So I think it
That's amazing.
all goes back to that reaching out, supporting and talking, but also listening. And being sitting and watching people's stories on social media can sometimes be a positive thing, I think, in that fashion, because if I hadn't have done,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen her story. So, yeah, it's
Yeah, I love that you've done that because a lot of people don't take that initiative, do they, to reach out? And I think you doing that, there is so much more of a community now, which I didn't have. Like when I started, I actually had there would be quite a lot of attention on, my God, you're a lady decorator at that time. We're talking a long time ago now, really. And I have had that only recently, about 3 years ago, where an older chap came into one of my sites and said, "My God, you're a lady." And I went, yeah. Well, standing in there, I was actually about to put one of the coats on the woodwork, and I stand there with the gun in my hand, and I'm like, "Can you get out of the room?" kind of thing. He's like, "You're that lady decorator." And I was like, "Yes, I am. Thank you. And you're the carpet guy, right? So do you need anything from me, or like how long is this going to take? Because I'm thinking I want to
yeah.
go home." But I
Oh.
couldn't help myself. And I said, "You know what?" I said, "The amazing thing is as well, we even have babies." I couldn't help myself.
Oh, that's brilliant.
What an idiot. Bless him. Yeah, back then I think it's so nice that you guys have got the support. Yeah, you've got the support with each other now, like you young pups. Whereas I was like, just like I felt so isolated. And then when I found out about social media, like really, it was only like 5 years ago when I started to do social media. I never even knew about this whole kind of stuff. And yeah, I was like, wow, it's opened up a whole game,
Oh,
a
it really
whole
has.
new world.
Absolutely. I mean, it's yes, we have the decorating shows and the trade shows to go to, but I think building connections on social media prior to seeing people in person, it almost gives certain people a bit of a, I don't know, like a star aspect, doesn't it? I think it's crazy.
This kind of celebrity status. People are
Yeah.
going to do that with you all the time now. When I walk around the P&D show, I've had people like going, "Sharon," like this, and I'm like, "Hi," like I have no idea, but it's quite nice. Like everyone's going to know who you are. They're going to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll have my trade decorator T-shirt on by that time as well." But are you going to be wearing your T-shirt by then?
Hopefully. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And I've spoken to some like pretty high level, very well known brand decorators as well. Yeah, they're like, basically, we just come for the social. That's true.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard that too.
I'm always really disappointed if I'm out the front in the sports bar and I can't find anybody. Like it was empty when I last went. And I was like, "Oh my God, where is everyone?"
Oh no.
So how do you find painting and decorating? What do you find hardest for painting and decorating when you're in your age? Like how long have you been doing it?
So I have been doing it on and off for about 6, 7 years now. I did it for about 4 years and then I had a bit of a break and came back to it in 2023. And yeah, I wouldn't change it. I love it. I definitely prefer working for myself overall, but being able to transform somebody's home for me, I know it sounds a bit corny, but being able to transform a room in somebody's home, I think is priceless sometimes.
It is. Yeah.
When if they're not able to do it themselves and somebody else can give them that joy in their house that they see every day, um, to me that is the value in being a decorator.
It's wonderful. It really is. You're a creator. We are creators, aren't
We
we?
are.
We're
Yeah.
artists. Yeah,
Yeah.
and very, very valued. And I think if there was something I could really hope to instill in other decorators is to say, really know your value, because that's where all of those decisions, like I'm actually intrigued now by what you said about the Mondays off. Do you find that you're able to maintain that and still get your work done by the Friday, or is there a lot of pressure for you by the time the Friday comes to get it all in? You do okay. You've got like a 4-day system. So you can turn a room around in 4 days.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
definitely. I
cool.
think I've got it down to a T near enough now where I know how long I can look at a room and know how long it's all going to take with the certain level of prep which each customer expects, because obviously everybody is
Mm.
different in that part
Yeah,
of the job. But yeah, 4-day week definitely suits me better, and I unless I have to, I won't compromise a weekend or a Monday unless I truly have to work with with the client. Then yeah, I mean, I got back into decorating to better my mental health, um, and find a passion again. And it's I've definitely been able to do that. So yeah, I
that
hope
is a
others
massive win. So many people are gonna take so much from that, and I think that the more you're able to share that with people, the better off people are gonna be. And I think that, other trades could potentially, certainly take the same from that as well. If you're looking at electricians or plumbers, to a certain point, it's actually easier because they haven't necessarily got to turn a room around in a 4-day or 3-day kind of time span, which is something that we're quite under pressure to do sometimes, I think, aren't we? So I think the more we can instill that, for some massive win.
100% definitely. I think for me, finding something that made me happy again, and I know happy can be used as quite a loose term for a feeling, but just finding something that brings joy to my day again, and then leading to it being a passion, and then wanting to know more about it and learn and better my skill set is, I think, what we're probably all striving to find. And for me, I'm it's always a work in progress, I think, as well. Let's say you, there's always going to be something new to learn and something more to better of yourself. And yeah, it's a journey, isn't it? Everything's a journey, and I think every hurdle and every setback is a learning, and you have to remember that when you hit these hurdles. I think that don't beat yourself up too much. Yeah, you've probably painted a room and then it's started to peel or something like that, or the wallpapers fell off the next day because something's gone wrong. Don't beat yourself up too much about it. I mean, it's happened. You have to find the solution and move forward. If you beating yourself up about it is only going to hurt yourself more than anybody else. So I think just try and be kind to yourself all the time.
Yes, like we said earlier about building resilience. I mean, it would sound to me like you've managed to find that kind of composure of resilience where you can actually handle those situations that you've come across that are negatives in the day. But the thing is that there's always a bottom line as to what's actually controlling that anxiety in the first place. So there's actually quite a limited amount of actually, and it's usually time and money. So the anxieties usually stem from, have I got too much to do in too little time? Is there a way I can manage that further? Or for me, the biggest stress factor a lot of the time is, shit, I need to get this done by this time, or I'm not going to get paid in time, which means it's going to have a knock on effect to the next one.
Yeah. Or I'm going to be working for free.
Yeah, that's right. I love what you've said about, I pretty much now know when I look at a room, what my process is going to be, what the amount of prep is going to be, which is also a lovely balance between what you said about the client's expectations as well. I think it's really important that you get those right, which can only be developed really, like you said, over the course of years, which you've had that 7-year practice. I think about the first few years I was doing it, and I just look back and I put my head in my hands because it's like, I'm just so ashamed. It's just awful. Like, oh God.
Yeah, I think we've all been at some point in that boat, especially at the beginning of our, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And again, I think the more we share these stories with people, the better off they're going to be. So I think it's lovely that I can pass this down because I am What did somebody call me the other week? When I went to the QTech Academy, I was photographed in there, and I was called a veteran.
Oh,
Here we
nice.
are with some of our veteran decorators, and I'm like, have I actually reached veteran status? I said that to my son. I'm like, is that good? He's like, hell yeah, that's a compliment. I was like, oh, that's all right then.
Definitely a compliment.
Decorator. But I literally have met every single scenario under the sun. I don't think there's anything that I haven't come across.
Oh, goodness me.
I'm actually considering writing a book about it. I think it would be hilarious.
Brilliant.
I've been put in touch with the publisher today about how we're going to get this book written. It's just quite fun. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to start rounding things off, and I want to kind of bring the episode to an end with a quick fire, this or that question round, as I do with most of my guests.
Cool.
Just to kind of learn some random bits about you. So if you're ready, I'm going to go for it.
I think I'm ready.
Driver or passenger?
Driver.
Brush and roller or sprayer?
Sprayer, fuck yeah, of course.
Of course. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Sunshine holiday or a cold holiday?
Oh, snowboarding all the way. Yeah, I definitely chose a snowboarding holiday over a sunny holiday. But I would quite like to go to Bali.
There is that. Brilliant. Weights or cardio?
Weights. I'm menopausal. I've got to say weights.
Brilliant. This might seem a bit random, but there's a reason I've put this in. Snooker or pool?
Snooker.
Thought you'd say that.
That's actually a really good question because actually I love watching snooker. I'm shit at playing it and I'm really good at pool. I could watch snooker literally all day.
Brilliant.
What does that say about us?
I know. Oh, goodness me. Pancakes or a fry up?
Oh, God. How dare you do that to me? Oh, my God. Do you know, I actually, this is supposed to be quick fire, but I always wanted to write the book, The Best Breakfast in Britain. But I also,
Really?
my favourite of anything to treat my, yeah, I absolutely love batter. So I love anything that's got, like, pancakes are one of my favourite things I love to make myself. Shit, I'm going to have to go fry up.
Saying that, I'm going for fry up.
With the fried toast as well, please. I've got to have the fried bread.
Oh, nice. Yes. And to end on that, sweet or savoury?
Savoury. Give me them crisps.
Give me them crisps. That's right. Brilliant. Oh, dear me. So 2 final questions for you. If you could be another trade, what would it be and why?
Oh, God, that's a really tough one. I've actually thought about being a plasterer. And the reason I quite like the thought about being a plasterer is because my dad was a plasterer.
Gotcha.
And he's a really bloody good one as well. And actually, there's something about it has changed over the years, but I love the smell of it. I love that sheen look you can get. I love the smell of it. I love the sound of it. So anytime I can actually skim work myself, I do it because although I'm not a good plasterer, I'm going to be really boring now. I also love playing with spray plaster machines. They're really cool.
Oh, I've not
Yeah.
really come across those. That does sound fun.
Well, yeah, spray plastering is another level. Literally.
Wow.
Pardon the pun. Yeah, it's awesome. So I'll be a
Brilliant.
plasterer.
Cool. And on that note, what other trade do you think I should have on the show next? Who would you like to listen to next?
I'd like to hear more. Have we got any lady plumbers?
Maybe, yeah.
I think we should hear from all the trades. I'd really like to hear from a lady brickie because she needs some serious muscles for that. And also working out in all elements, like, builder. Let's have some lady builders on and see what that's like. But I think that it'd be cool to hear from lady plumbers because I'm always of the opinion that plumbers and electricians have it quite easy because they come in and make the mess for us, and then we have to clear it up, So, but I'm actually intrigued at how, because these are the big earners, so they tend to earn quite well. Gas
Yeah.
heating engineers and electricians earn really, really well. And I'd like to kind of know more about what it's like behind the scenes. Like, I know what it's like for my electrician, but I don't really get a chance to speak to any plumbers. And it'd be really cool to hear from lady plumbers, I think.
Thank you. So, where can people find you on social media? Let's get some followers for you. What are your social
Thank you
media
so
handles?
much. Yeah. So I'm Sharon Trade Health Coach, both on Instagram and Facebook. Well, I like that on Facebook as well. But it's actually Sharon Norton-Marshall on Facebook. But really, my concentrated page is Instagram, and it's Sharon Trade Health Coach.
Fantastic. Well, I'll make sure that people can find your handles and your links at the bottom of the show notes. And
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
very much for your time, Sharon. It's been brilliant.
It's been amazing to connect with you, Laura. I wish you every success, and it's been great to be with you. And I look forward to hearing from some of your gals.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.